Hey everyone, welcome back to Brutal Reviews. Today we are talking about Raynic Emergency Radio. At first glance, the Raynic Emergency Radio looks like it checks all the boxes. It has AM, FM, shortwave, NOAA alerts, a flashlight, SOS siren, solar panel, hand crank, phone charging, and a compact design. On paper, this thing sounds perfect for emergencies, hurricanes, camping, or keeping in your car. Reality check. This radio has been reviewed by thousands of people online. And yes, many users like it. But there's a solid chunk of negative reviews, almost 5% all over the internet, from people who had genuinely bad experiences. And when we're talking about an emergency radio, even a small failure rate is a huge problem. Let's break down the 6 biggest issues, straight from real users. Issue number 1. Battery life that completely fails in real emergencies. Multiple users reported keeping this radio charged for emergencies, only to find it completely dead when severe weather actually hit. One reviewer faced tornadoes, pulled the radio out for live weather updates, and it wouldn't even power on. 10 minutes of hand cranking did nothing. An emergency radio that dies when your life may depend on it is worse than useless. Issue number 2. Hand crank and solar charging don't work. Review after review says the same thing. The hand crank barely charges at all, and the solar panel is ineffective. Users cranked for 10 to 15 minutes and didn't gain a single battery bar. Others left the radio in direct sunlight for hours and still got only a few minutes of runtime. If USB power is unavailable, this radio simply cannot sustain itself. Issue number 3. Extremely weak reception and unreliable NOAA alerts. Several reviewers reported terrible reception, even in areas where other radios worked perfectly. Move the radio slightly and the signal disappears. Some users couldn't hold a NOAA weather signal long enough to hear alerts. For an emergency weather radio, unreliable reception completely defeats the purpose. Issue number 4. Audio constantly cuts in and out. One verified buyer said the radio would play audio for about 3 seconds, then cut out for several seconds, then repeat, even while plugged in. That makes it impossible to rely on for weather alerts or normal listening. If you can't hear warnings clearly and continuously, the radio has already failed. Issue number 5. Random power behavior and buttons that stop responding. Users described the radio turning itself on in the middle of the night, alarms and lights activating randomly, and buttons that simply stopped working. One reviewer had to physically open the radio and disconnect the battery to shut it up. That's not a glitch, that's a serious design or quality failure. Issue number 6. Defective units and poor reliability over time. Multiple buyers reported that the radio worked briefly, then completely died. Blank display, no power, no flashlight, no response, even when fully charged. Some said this was their 3rd emergency radio from similar brands with the same outcome. When a product fails this often, reliability is clearly a problem. Final verdict. The Raynic Emergency Radio looks good in photos and sounds great in the description, but real user experiences paint a harsh picture. Between battery failures, useless crank and solar charging, weak reception, random alarms, and dead units, this is not something you want to trust in a real emergency. My link is in the description.